Sierra's garden update. So today I worked just on this area. I've been pulling weeds here and there on a regular basis, keeping it under control, and there was still about 10 more of them popping up today. So it just makes it easier if you just do it every once in a while. So since I live here at Sierra's house temporarily, you know, I've been able to see what it takes to take care of this garden. And so far, I mean, really, just maybe once a week auxiliary watering is good. Maybe in the summer, twice a week. Or once a week for certain plants like succulents. So I don't know. It'll just be interesting to see how the summer goes. Because this starts getting sun right about 11:30 noon, and then it's pretty sunny all afternoon. So it's not blasted all day long, but it is the afternoon sun. So, but I just love it here in Chino. Now, we did have a lot of rain because they're seeding the clouds. I don't know if they've abandoned that plan, but they started what they called a 4-year pilot plan. It's the Santa Ana project or something like that. And I heard they suspended it because, you know, they're messing with Mother Nature. But I gotta say, of all the horrible things they do, I mentioned this in another video, the powers that shouldn't be messing with mad science without even knowing what they're doing, and then they tell us we're the problem because we're living and having children and we're overpopulated. But anyways, they're totally taking the wrong strategy, and I might make a video about that, but that's not what this video is about. This is about Sierra's garden and what I've done. And I only mention it because of that cloud seeding program. We got a lot of rain, and I didn't really have to water much at all. I mean, the only thing that really ever needed any water to speak of is that little pot right there with the geraniums. But anyway, so I had a dragon tree planted here, and I didn't really know how fast it would grow outdoors. I would never try to plant that in Phoenix. Maybe they could take it in a shady spot, like right on the edge of a patio where it was getting the sunniest shade possible, if that makes sense. You might be able to grow those dragon trees outdoors in Phoenix, but here in Chino, it grew like a champ. Now, I did plant it like back in September, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was October of 2023. So it was still pretty hot here, but, you know, obviously not. It was cool on the way. The temperatures and the sun intensity were on their way down rather than on their way up repeatedly day after day like it is in the summer. For those of you who don't understand how that matters, I think you can see once it's pointed out to you. But I think most people understand that who are experienced gardeners. And so I had hoped that would, I knew that this would start filling in, and I had no idea how much this Nanook would grow and how fast it would grow. And I just planted one little teeny little bit of it right there in the corner. And it's doing what I wanted. I wanted it to come up and peek over and just kind of soften this corner. So it's doing that, and I couldn't be happier. And I do want to move those sad looking succulents there. I'm just leaving them there for now because I don't have a place to put them and I don't have time to do anything about it. But I do like having a pot right there that these Nanooks can just kind of hug. I do want to get a nicer pot for here. I mean, I don't mind a white pot, but that's just sort of like a white nursery pot to get you through. Or if the plant was you know, overgrowing and you just saw a little bit of the white on the bottom and little, you know, it would be all right, but I don't know. I mean, I may never change it, but I would like to. But it is kind of nice to have sort of like the continuity of white coming along. And then we've got some other interesting pots. And here I'm going for like the earthy look, right? So we've got white and earthy, sort of, if you want to call it that. So anyways, that's kind of, you know, just some design comments I got going on, growing comments. So anyway, but what I did today was I planted purple and white gladiolus, I think in that, oh look, there's a weed. I'll have to pop that out after the video. That's just gonna drive me nuts. Planted some gladiolus bulbs here in this spot. I want the gladiolus to come and pop up through the nanette. And then I planted some of these blue chopsticks that I've been wanting to plant for like months. And then I've got the variegated elephant food here and a variegated elephant food here. Now the thing I like about this is it provides that color contrast, and they're kind of slow growers, but they will get going and they will really fill in. And they're all easy. And the thing with these succulents is they're great as fillers until they get too big and other stuff is getting bigger. They're just so easy to move. They're not persnickety about being moved. And they don't really need water. And these are all like sun succulents. So I just love these, and I wanted to create some continuity because we've sort of got a patchwork of inconsistency going on. Like over here, like I think it's working okay over here, but I want to kind of tidy this up a little bit over here, and I really want to do something here, but I didn't work on that today, so we'll talk about that later. And then, so I got some gladiolus that's gonna pop here, some gladiolus that's gonna pop there, and I think I put some gladiolus there. Then I put some sunflowers in there, and that's where I moved the dragon tree. So it's not really gonna be anything too impactful. I mean, maybe by the fall, you know, when you're looking from this direction, it'll have a nice look to it. I don't know if you can see it with the shade. Oh, and I'm real happy this sago that got bombed by a basketball started leafing out. So I'm happy about that. Anyways, so we've got chopsticks, elephant food, and then I just popped in these little kiwis just to see if they would do anything. Now, then you might not have noticed, I popped in, for the life of me, I can't remember what these are called. I think they're like those Kalanchoe flapjacks, but they're like those rusticy looking kind. I can't remember if I made a video about them or not, but I picked a bunch of these, and they grow in these nice clusters, and I really like the way they look. So I thought I'd put a little clump. We're gonna get a little clump going here, a little clump going here. We'll see who wins. And I just didn't feel like, felt like I'd rather have the blue over here. I thought about doing those, but I thought the blue chopsticks would make more of a faster impact than those flapjack variety. And Sierra decided that she now appreciates these chrysanthemums, and we've got some blooms going on. I'm gonna just let that one ride with the blooms. They say it's best to cut the blooms off when they bloom in the summer so you can get a better fall display. But I have a strong suspicion that in some areas that's not the case, because what I saw down at my Sierra's Aunt Kathy's house down in San Diego, I had cut off, she let hers bloom in the spring or early summer, and they were, I think, the same ones as these. And I came by, when I went there in this middle of summer, it was all dead looking, and I cut off all the dead, and then it came right back, and it had beautiful blooms in the fall, so I'm just not worried. And, you know, if they look like they're weak in the fall, then I'll know next year in the summertime I won't let them flower. And I have this pot of Tradescantia that I've been able to root, and that's just going to hang out there until we figure out what we really want to do with it. But hey, if I can get it to grow there, I think it would be nice to have another spot of Tradescantia. And if that pot is happy there, that's great, because I don't want to plant a whole nother batch of that in the ground. But it'd be not, you know, and I love having some pots that you can move around. It's just so much easier to move a plant in a pot than it is to dig it up out of the ground and move it. But the ground is a great place to keep plants too, because they don't need as much water and attention. So, you know, there's no utopia, so you just try to do a little bit of everything. And I try to have, you know, a good variety of things in pots that we can move, and stuff in the ground and all that. So hopefully this will fill in nicely, and I'm looking forward to the gladiolus coming up, and those sunflowers over there will be really nice. Hopefully they'll do all right. I'm kind of banking that they won't get that tall because they're not going to be getting sun until noon. But I think they should still grow and bloom, but they're not going to be big, which actually is great. Like, everybody complains about, you know, their amaranth, their sunflowers, they want them to be big and tall. Well, I don't necessarily want them to be big and tall. In fact, that's frequently why I question whether I should plant sunflowers in certain places. And so I've got a big collection of sunflowers that are on the dwarf side naturally. And then if you plant them with their minimal sunlight needs, plant them close together, you know, you can just get like some nice dwarf sized sunflowers. But anyway, so I'm really stoked. I can't wait. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I'm really gonna have to have a talk with Sierra and tell her to keep the kids from playing basketball over here. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I did move the little basketball thing over here, and her adorable son Cashton, just the cutest kid. He looks like a baby Elvis. He loves basketball. So I don't know, I may move that more over that way, and I'll come out and start playing basketball with him more often, and I'll stand over here. Because I know he loves it, and they don't really have a good spot in the backyard that's open like the driveway is. And then hopefully that'll protect the yard. So now we've just got this area to worry about more so than that area, but and then I got to get over here soon. So anyway, so that's the update, and it just is amazing gardening here, just amazing. Oh, I did recently plant my coleus that I was keeping at the lab. I went ahead and planted it over here. So I have a feeling the coleus is gonna win over those polka dot plants. But I couldn't be more thrilled that this plumeria rooted, and the plumeria is starting to come back. But we have to look at this all winter, so I really want to try to come up with, I want to get some bigger pots to put here in the winter time. And maybe some kind of a wintering vine that we can grow up through the branches. Although, you know, I don't mind empty branches, but this is like a high profile spot. And I mean, how cool would that be? I don't know what kind of vines will continue to grow through the winter. You know, I'm new to Chino, California, but, you know, amazing things happen here. That's all I can tell you. Like, I am so happy gardening here. I never want to leave. All right, Crystal, Sierra's house, long update. I'm just super stoked that I finally got something worked out over here, and let's see how it turns out. So, and this was very cheap to do. In fact, after I'm done with this video, I'll probably, I might not have it up right away, but eventually I'll add in a cost estimate of what it costs to do this, what was here already when I got here, and then what I added and how much it cost. All right. Crystal from the new Rain Dance Ranch, the new temporary Rain Dance Ranch in Chino, California. When it rains, go out and dance.